You're listening to Headcanon Graps. This is Graps Theory, and today we're bringing you what's to come with the new day, covering the breakup between Xavier Woods, Kofi, and Big E. And more specifically, Big E being pushed out of the group, and now the group taking a new shift and a new dynamic. And so I want to really dive into that, some ideas I have for it, and where the story might go, leading all the way up to Wrestlemania 41 in Vegas. But before we get there, hit like, hit subscribe on this video. This is not the only Graps Theory I have for you. If you go look on the channel, we have Who Attacked Jade Cargill on SmackDown, and going through possible candidates who did that. Also diving into the women's US tournament that just wrapped up with Chelsea Green winning, which, hey, if you heard that video, you might have heard some of that knowledge in there too. So look out for that video. Look out for the video covering the women's IC tournament on Raw and booking it out from the opening rounds forward to the end of the tournament, which if you actually go back on Raw, they announced it would be on the first episode on Netflix. But hey, my video's been up prior to that. So if you saw my video, you already knew that's already happening on the first episode of Raw. So you want to learn some new knowledge, you want some more, go follow that and dive into that. But enough about all the past. Let's talk about the present and what's to come with this new day. But first we got to go backwards, and we got to actually talk about the inception of the group. And July 21st, 2014, Xavier Woods in his dapper white suit, red shirt, comes out to address Kofi and Big E, who just got done with a match, basically stating, hey, it's time for us to stop being patient. It's time for us to stop waiting for ours, and we got to go take what we want. And it's almost this formation of this new nation of domination, which Big E covers in his articles named Sour that was in the Players Tribune. So when he references this, he's talking about basically trying to formulate an idea of what a black wrestler is for WWE and presenting that idea and using maybe something that previously got on television to use that as a way to get on TV. And so Big E, Xavier, and Kofi created this idea, and in its initial weeks, they were coming out to the ring, scoping out talent, getting ready to make a move, and you could tell something big was happening. But then they kind of went dark for a little while, and then they started to have these promo packages debut, and it had a gospel flair and a vibe to it, which was kind of confusing from the dynamic we just had at the beginning. And when they finally debuted, they actually did have the gospel choir behind them in that final video package. They were pushing the power of positivity, and they were coming with a very preacher vibe and a very stereotypical Christian preacher vibe, which then I didn't know, but Big E would then reference his actual upbringing. And so a lot of that opening, and you can hear it in the opening, and it's almost like a southern way of preaching, and that he got that from his father and his upbringing. And so bringing that into the group, it's kind of a cool detail to know now, but I know it's not what they wanted to fully do in the beginning, and so it didn't struggle to really connect with the fans and to actually land with us to say, like, okay, like, we wanted that new nation of domination, but now you're giving us a gospel group. What is this? Where are we going with this? You're making our boys look silly. And they really did struggle as baby faces in that beginning to connect with fans. And then it took a heel turn and them allowing to be their authentic selves. Not what do we think a black person should be, but they got to be whatever they wanted to be and start to be funny and to actually dive into stuff and to then start to incorporate rhythmic shaking, and which sounds ridiculous, but Big E and his hips, you know what I'm talking about. Like, that started to connect. They started to get over with the fans. They got the trumpet. They had a plethora of title reigns to follow that, whether it's from the penny belt era forward into the dime belt era with the red and the Raw and SmackDown versions of it. They reigned over supreme everything. They took the record for the longest reigning tag champs at the same time, and they got to actually be them, whether it was hosting WrestleMania, being at WrestleMania and wrestling on WrestleMania, coming out in Final Fantasy gear, coming out in Dragon Ball Z gear, coming out of a cereal box. These men got to be themselves and have so much fun doing it, and the fans felt that. And also for black fans, they were also showing a route of, hey, you can be black and nerdy, and it's cool to be black and nerdy. Because at one point in time, it wasn't cool to be black and nerdy, and they were able to let that nerd flag fly, and they did it on the biggest stages. And so, not only were they able to do that for others and do that for themselves, they were also able to grow their singles careers out pretty big. And for Kofi, it was Kofi Mania. For Big E, it was reestablishing himself as a single star. He had already won the IC title before, but doing it again, building himself back up, reconnecting with the fans with this new version of Big E, winning Money in the Bank, having that great reaction with the fans and whatnot, to move forward to then cash in and have another great reaction. We're not talking about the reigns, we're not talking about how they ended, we're talking about what they literally got to accomplish with the group. And the same goes with Xavier. He was able to then turn around and win King of the Ring, something that he cherished from his old childhood. He's always wanted to win. And so each member of the group got to have some type of shine and success throughout their whole tenure within the New Day. But then injury would strike with Big E. He would get hurt in a spot with Ridge Holland in 2022. And Kofi and Xavier would steer the ship with the New Day forward from that point on. And they would have some success here and there in winning matches, and they also would have an NXT title reign. They were more the veterans now and more the established presence on the main roster, which is something wild to say, remembering the start of them in the beginning. And now that they have been here for 10 years, I saw Xavier when they started that runoff, when they were just starting to hit. I bumped into him at DTW, the airport, and to even think I hadn't even started college before that. And now I have a master's degree. I've been out of college for 5 years now. It's been some time, and now they're still established. It's kind of crazy to me to see all of that shifting, and them shifting along with me and my age. And so we get to this point of them this year. They've been arguing, they've been butting heads, and it's almost, you get older and you start to have those instances of where you're arguing more, you're bumping heads more. The communication is not there as much as it needs to be. And so Kofi and Xavier are going through that throughout 2024. They're not having the success at winning titles, and they're just butting heads, and they're not really talking the way they need to be talking. And so it culminates with them losing in record time to the Alpha Academy in this almost squash match-like fashion. Not even almost. It was a squash. That was like 30 seconds. And we get into the back. Kofi's throwing digs. Xavier, hey, yo, you fumbled the crown when you won it, and when I gave you the IC title shot, which is something weird to kind of say, because when you go back to that Raw, he definitely stated, hey, Jay gave you that shot, and it's not actually for me. Jay thought of you. But now he's saying in this promo, hey, I gave you that shot, and you fumbled it. Either way, trying to support your boy and get your boy's confidence up in the match, the day of that match. Like, hey, no, he picked you. You want to win the match. That's cool and all, but he still dug it. Xavier, like, hey, you fumbled it both times. You're not a single star. Xavier over here, like, yo, you don't believe in yourself. You didn't believe in yourself enough for Kofi Mania, and we had to push you to get there. And when you got there, yeah, you won, but then you dropped the belt to Brock in 8 seconds. And then never even got mad about it. And what, now you're going to get mad in my face about this? Because I'm saying this to you? Because you always want to just try to play it cool? And that's kind of been a narrative about Kofi. I think it's even something that's come out about him just in past interactions with other people backstage, that he's been chill. And even when aggression kind of starts, he's not the one they really get into it. So, playing off a lot of different stories, but I like to call this segment the Hard Truths segment, because they were throwing, people call them jabs back and forth, but they were also telling a lot of truths. And I think that's what led us to the 10th anniversary, and how they could stand side by side and say, yo, you know what the biggest truth of all is? E left us. And they then delivered some hard truths to Big E, saying, hey, yo, you left us. Yeah, you might have broke your neck, but so did Stone Cold, so did everybody's broken their neck, and they came back from it. I got injured, Xavier said, and I came back in 9 months for you. We've been waiting here for you. We kept this group the same for you. We haven't evolved. We ain't turned heel. We ain't did nothing waiting for you. And what you been doing? You got a new girlfriend. You've been working at the desk. You can show up for these desk shows and you can give your opinion on there, but you can't be here for us. And this is because Biggie came out and said, hey, I hate to see y'all like this. I want to see, we're boys. We should be together. I will be your manager, and I'm going to support you, and we're going to get y'all back to where y'all need to be and where we should be as a group. Well, Xavier didn't want to hear that now because it's a little too late. You're trying to offer me the world, and it's over. Like, when we at the cliff, at the end of the cliff, now you want to give me everything? We needed you a while ago. And so with Biggie being basically ousted from the New Day, and Kofi and Woods basically unite and say, hey, it's you and me. We all we got. Where's the group going from here? And I think the theme of the story is going to be we, no matter what. And they said an expression during the 10th anniversary where they said, it's we over me, and you chose me, E. I think that plays into the story a little bit later down the line, but the overall theme is we. It brings us to this theme of, am I my brother's keeper? That New Jack City feeling of like, do I gotta put my brother down or should I be uplifting my brother? And I think both of those themes are gonna play into this. And so we see the other side of it of the uplifting my brother with Kofi and Xavier. And so who is in this we? Because we see them come out the next week on Raw to just try to talk to the fans after the 10th anniversary show. And the fans are not having it. The people backstage not having it. Natalia not having it. The agents not having it. The work hands not having it. Nobody wants to shake hands. Nobody wants to dap them up. Cody Rhodes over here like, you should be ashamed of yourself. Everybody's just up in arms. And Kofi said, over one bad day, we've given you 10 years of positivity. And this is how y'all gonna treat us over one bad day? It's gonna be the world against Kofi and Woods. And so who else could be in this we that we see? That we, how they did who? Who's in this we with them? And who could be supporting them? I think one person who we already made mention of back in the day, earlier this year through a promo, was Kevin Owens. He stated, hey, I regret turning on Kofi Kingston. That's a great guy. So I already believe the New Day have an ally in KO. This is not the first time KO has also been an ally to the New Day. So jump backwards to 2019. KO keeps referencing, I regret turning on Kofi Kingston. Well, in 2019, he turned on Kofi after he joined the New Day to what? Take over for Big E and replace Big E for a little bit when Big E got a short-term injury that year. And so he did that little stint in the New Day, then turned on Kofi so he can get a WWE title shot, and that's what he regrets. And so KO is definitely going to be an ally that him and Xavier can lean on. They might do a couple of six-mans. I don't think he'll fully join the New Day. I just think he'll be a supportive person throughout his whole period. In this new heel turn for Kevin, and same with the New Day, heels align. And I don't even think all the heels are going to support the New Day. But I think it's important to make sure we utilize all these little nuggets we keep throwing in these stories, especially those random nuggets. Because everybody's like, yo, why is KO randomly dropping Kofi like that? Like, I don't know, like, what line dropped in that promo? Like, we throwing flowers to Kofi for whatever reason? Cool. Well, now we might see the fruit of that in that heel turn with the New Day. So I want to see what comes from that. But I think what's to come next out of this whole situation could possibly be adding a new member to the New Day out of that we, and maybe it's a young superstar like Javon Evans from NXT. And I look at NXT and I look down the roster and I'm like, it's not Trick. I don't think Trick fits in New Day. I don't think Oba, though big, I think Oba's on his own quest right now. And hey, let's just let the ruler of the world keep doing what he's doing. It leads me to look at what other... Can we put Ashante in here? Cool, yeah, but what does Ashante do that will give him a unique identity to his own. And I think that's when we look at Javon. Javon's a high flyer that's really cooking and doing his thing in NXT right now. And so if we want to bring him up to the main roster, give him a spotlight and give him a means to be focused on and be shaped, I'd rather put Javon in a group that he could be a babyface and a heel with and grow his voice on the mic with and have that kind of mentor-mentee relationship with on the road versus throwing him out there and wish him luck like a Carmelo Hayes. Because I think Carmelo right now, I think he's going to be traded to the next, I think he's going to switch over to Raw, but no matter what, I think this year being the first round draft pick wasn't the greatest for him, and so I don't want the same to happen with Javon. And what better fit? I think he has that personality to mesh with them. And so, because I want it to be an authentic feel, but even if we don't go with a Javon, they did try to go with an Odyssey Jones. And I only add Odyssey Jones in here for one reason. It's to talk about the fact that they were going to replace Big E in the beginning story before Odyssey Jones was removed from the company for his own reasons. Want to know why? Google. It's always there for you. But with that being said, they thought about replacing E and they were going to do it with a bigger guy. And so could we do that with somebody else in the future? Is there a better person to replace E with? I don't know how I would have felt about Odyssey. I thought he was entertaining in the ring at the time, but I don't know the longevity of that, because E had a lot of dynamics into him. And so that leads me to talk about E. I don't think E's time in the New Day is over. I think this is just a temporary pause. I think if we were going to replace E, we tried that with Odyssey Jones. I don't think the goal is now to replace E anymore. I think the goal is now to get E on the same page with everybody else. And that's the thing, E is a very reflective person. And so that promo was a lot of hard truths for him. He had to take a lot of that in from them. And during this time period, you already see it when it comes to Stu and them messing with the cameraman Stu, John Cena's favorite cameraman. Xavier going after him, Xavier not being a fan of Cody, and his little remarks about that, and them having these different times. I think, hey, we gonna get a run back of that Alpha Academy feud, and I think, not even a feud, I think they gonna run that back with Alpha Academy and they just gonna beat them nice and easy. They're going to start antagonizing and getting on everybody's nerves on the main roster. They're gonna start to become a presence, because, oh, you gonna ignore us? Okay, then buy us you. Like, we about to come after you, and we about to get ours. And so, and I don't think it just ends with a tag title reign. I think it's gonna go for a bigger theme, and that's building Xavier up. And so they're gonna enter the Royal Rumble, and Big E's gonna be left with a choice. Do I support my brothers, or do I get on board with my brothers? Am I my brother's keeper? Like, do I need to put my brothers down, or do I need to uplift my brothers? What do I do? We get to the Royal Rumble though, and it's now down to the ring, and we got Xavier in the ring, we got Cody in the ring, we got Cena in the ring, and we got Kofi in the ring. We got the four of them battling it out. We got Xavier going over here after Cody, because they got their rivalry from high school and whatnot. We got Kofi going after Cena, vet after vet, having that kind of experience. Everybody got some stakes in here. But the main goal is we trying to uplift my man Xavier, get him his first singles shot. And even if that's at a world title, cool, let's get it in this Royal Rumble. Let's uplift you, my brother. So the countdown clock starts, and you see it going down in the corner, and out of nowhere you hear, we all want to go big, right? Big E comes down to the ring. Xavier shook. Kofi shook. The crowds are going crazy. It's almost like that Edge reaction. But we're going to play off that Edge reaction, since it was also mentioned in the story. Like, Edge came back. Well, Edge came back at the Royal Rumble, right? Well, we're going to do the same thing with Big E, but this time we're going to have Adam Pearce out there. Hey, Big E, no, stop. No, Big E, no. security geeks out here, no, Big E, no. Trying to stop Big E from getting down to the ring. Because even though he has a number and even though he's trying to enter, Big E is not cleared to wrestle. And so Big E's trying to get in the ring. He's trying to, I got something to say to y'all. In the midst of all this, Cena and Cody together throw out Kofi and Woods. Woods' mouth agape shook. Yo, what? Yo, for real, Kofi just downtrodden like, man, what is this? Cody and Cena have this shit-eating grin on their face like, yo, we got you. Haha. And then you start to see them circle each other up and they're getting ready for their big moment. The crowd's getting ready for them because they're the only ones in the ring. Big E is now kind of sad and downtrodden. He had tears in his eyes when he first came out, and kind of like that emotion of like, yeah, I'm coming back for the first time ever, but it's against my brothers. And you got Adam Pearce and you got all this trying to keep them apart, just keeping the space between everybody. The boys go to the back, and now we are left with, and I like to call it the Matrix scenario of the blue pill and the red pill. The blue pill option, I think we living in fantasy. The red pill option is what I think we're actually going to get in reality. But to go with my blue pill option, we start off with Big E coming back. Yo, we come on to the Raw after a Royal Rumble. I wasn't cleared before, but I am now. And also, I need to update you all. Shinsuke Nakamura is going to be, we're going to make that all sure that Shinsuke is on the same show with the New Day. I don't know right now in the transfer pool where that's all going to happen. I'm going to have a transfer video coming up next, so please stay tuned for that. Like, subscribe, and do all of that. But to continue the story, Shinsuke is now U.S. champion still. LA Knight lost to him again. We have Shinsuke versus Big E. Big E calls out Shinsuke for his title because he knows that in this story, if I'm going to get through to my brothers, I have to give them what they want to get through to them. And so he goes to the Elimination Chamber in Toronto, faces Shinsuke Nakamura, and takes the U.S. title off of Shinsuke. That then leads us to go to WrestleMania for the New Day Triple Threat. Big E versus Kofi versus Xavier. You want to be a singles champion so badly? Try to get this belt off of me. You haven't been good enough in the past, but that's because your head's been clouded. But let's see if you can do it against me. Trying to uplift his brother, but also trying to take his brother out. Because at the same time, you've been wild, you've been disrespectful. John Cena was upset with you about Stu. Cody was upset with you about everything. Everybody's been upset with you. So you know what? I gotta set you straight. Because I am my brother's keeper. That leads to Xavier still winning the U.S. title in the end, but them having this experience at the end of the match where they can embrace each other. Maybe Kofi and Big E go off into the sunset and retire, and Big E then Woods moves forward with the U.S. title as now a new single star, almost in that same vein of a Jey Uso and getting him established on his own. It's just Woods Uso, but that's my blue pill option. Now, when it comes to my red pill option, it's me kind of living in reality. And so that promo now on that Raw is not about, hey, I am here not to take you out, but I am here to serve you. And I said that on the 10th anniversary before, and Woods, I meant that. I ain't come out here to stop you at the Royal Rumble. I came out here to help you. And I know I messed that up, but I'm going to do it right. And I'm going to do right by you because I haven't supported you when I should have. And I should have been here. And I didn't show up. And so I got your back. I'm going to be your manager. Let's get you to that singles title. And him and Kofi, the same way that Kofi and Woods and Big E supported Kofi towards Kofi Mania, is going to be the same thing, but in a heel dynamic. No more colors. No more booty-os. Back to basics. We are going back to that nation and domination approach, but in a more serious manner because we are trying to get Xavier to where he needs to be. We are trying to uplift my brother. Maybe it does take a New Jack City kind of format. And now, they're not thugs, they're not gangsters, but we about our business and we stand in on business. And so that leads to LA Knight at Elimination Chamber beating Shinsuke Nakamura and getting his US title back. And then that leads us to LA Knight versus Xavier Woods at WrestleMania for the US title. He has got Big E in his corner. He's got Kofi in his corner. Together, they do what he got to do. He uses cheap tactics, but he then, in the end, wins and he pulls through. Even with his boys getting sent to the back, Xavier pulls through and wins the US title off of LA Knight, giving them another embrace. And once again, if this is a point for Big E and Kofi to go off into the sunset, or if it's now time for us to shift the dynamic of the group again, we do it at this point, but we get to WrestleMania and we do that. And so that leads me to ask you all, hey, what do you think of this? Where would you like the story to go? Who would you like to see involved in the story? Who do you want to see them feuding with? Because I didn't dive too much into the main feuds because I don't think this is a big feud-heavy story. I think this is going to be along the lines of a Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio, where they didn't have too many other feuding opponents and whatnot. Karrion Kross is kind of in there and kind of other stuff, but we're focused on the main bits of the story and we're focused on what we're trying to do amongst these characters. And so tell me what you think about it. Drop a comment below. Share this video out. I've got a subscriber goal of 30 that I'm trying to reach, so please help me get there. And stay tuned and look out for that next video talking about the transfer window. So it's going to be much shorter than this, but definitely something else to dive into. So hey, I'll see you all on the next one. Peace out.